Hey everyone. So I'm actually I'm just testing the new patch for Warframe, and usually I like to run a condition overload melee setup. Just in general, I like playing melee characters, and so Warframe has a whole slew of versatile different frames that you can use. And I always try and look for a way that I can set up one of them that can just melee everything. And there's been a lot of phases of that I've seen, years ago when it was the Atarax with the maiming strike. And I wanted to do something that could just start off right away, hitting hard. I like the status effects. I think there's a lot of systems that are interesting that they've built into the combat calculations to take advantage of rather than just, trying to get like a physical attack damage and that was it. And spinning around with the whip. I didn't really like that. I wanted something, something that looks like this. So, and I'll go over, I'm just going to run a few damage tests in here, and then I'll go over what the frost setup that I use is. And if people are interested, I can show some of my other frame setups. So, this is one of the kuva lich weapons, and this is my default. This is how I logged in to the patch. So it's really, because of the melee buff, it's really important to have drifting contact, berserker, and well, see, you can have, usually it's either or of these. This is a really slow weapon. I'm finding that having the increased attack speed is much, much better with the buffed. We can hit the cap on the combo meter, real fast. So, and I have it set up for corrosive cold. And because it's a melee frost, so I'm going to be doing the buff that just buffed 199% damage. Alright, so I'm going to simulate 20 of the level 135 Grineers. And I'm just going to have it paused first so I can see the numbers. Alright. So this is just corrosive cold. Pretty good. Still really, really solid. Okay. And what I want to test is the difference between viral and corrosive, how it's looking. So I'll swap in where is it? Volcanic Edge for Berserker. This has there we go. Radiation viral. Okay. So now I'm going to summon those guys back out. Let's see how this looks. A little bit slower. Big numbers. And usually Viral was not able to go through the enemies like that. The Grenier. Wow, that guy just evaporated. That first guy. As our combo meter built up. Combo meter's already at max. And I suppose I could replace Prime Fury with Berserker. Okay. Now I'm going to take off the pause AI. Sometimes this can get a little bit, this when they're unpaused, they can spread out unpredictably, so actually the AoE damage, well, I guess the frost is going to be beneficial, slowing them down a little bit. Alright, one more. Oh man. So he's dead. Okay. Now, let's see what that is with... Let's see what this is with... So I gotta get... Kinetic Edge back in there. Okay. I mean, it definitely looks like it's... They're all like spreading way out. Jeez. They definitely spread way out in that one. Oh, I died. Killed my pet. That was a big hit right there. Now that the combo meter. Huh. So that test was not as good as the corrosive. I feel like the way it looks like it is right now is that viral and radiation now have... They go up to something like 4 times multiplier. They're like a 4 times multiplier or 5. So each of these is going to be multiplying in like that, but not... They're each going to be separate damage instances, so it's just kind of like mirrored. Now I wonder if corrosive is stripping up to 80% of the armor. It used to be up to 100%, but now it's down to 80%. That damage reduction is multiplied in, so even if you're achieving multiplicative damage increases elsewhere, that's getting divided out anyways by the armor. Not all of it, obviously. You can inflate the multiplicative on the one side much higher than what you're dividing out. So now the question is, if you go around on all you're doing on planets, missions, can you just stack all of these multiplicative damage increases with viral, radiation, and then even putting in, you know, the melee aura instead of corrosive projection. Corrosive projection is now 18% armor. So it looks to me like I can just stay the same. It looks to me like I can just stay corrosive because it's still going to be providing me with an all-around benefit damage, multiplicative damage increase, if you can think of it that way, because you're reducing their armor, which would be dividing your damage. Now, the other thing too is that now I could probably do this differently on different weapons, but I had to slot out Berserker. And that just makes it, when you're playing around in the field, it's nice to just, right off the bat, be able to attack fast and get the combo meter stacked up. So maybe I'll do one more corrosive. One more corrosive test. I mean, It's nice and fast. It feels like it's real straight to the point. There's no lag. I'm not getting caught up on any of these guys. They're just dying. And you know, Frost actually, when he would freeze people with his ice, it made it so that you couldn't apply any status effects. I think I got all of them. Alright. Now, one other thing I can show too. Oh, there was still a guy. I'm going to pause the AI. I'm going to simulate it because the way I like to set up the condition overload specs, on this kuva seer, this is going to be an AoE damage with 3 status effects, and then now I go in with condition overload, and it just annihilates. Because the whole thing with condition overload is getting the different status. You don't even care about what the status effect damage is. You're just getting different status effects in there, because each status effect separate is 120% increased melee damage. So Frost can always just do that too. Alright, so I'm still working on my guns. These always change because usually I'm just meleeing stuff, but my setup that I run is corrosive projection, handspring constitution. For me, being melee and always being in there, it's once I found out about this combination a long time ago, I just never unequip it. It's always on my Warframes. I really hate unslotting these two. Sometimes constitution will get slotted out for certain things. This I just put in there. I literally just got this leveled up. I haven't really tested how the Tau resistance is compared to other things. You know, I could see there probably being a benefit if they're going to add sentient content, because I think that's sentient damage. On Frost, the way that I used to run him, I have 2 other specs, Index and Super Orb, that are just completely different. Like, this is just for the Index. This is just for having the strongest possible orb that you can, the globe, because you cast them inside themselves and they keep adding to the health. But for my melee guy, what is really interesting about Frost is that this freeze force, if you hold down your number 1, it gives you 100% cold damage for 40 seconds and your allies. And if you compare it to what you have to do to some of the other frames, aside from like Mirage, which is pretty easy, you just press 1 for. Chroma, I had to maintain Vex armor and do a self-damage, which I don't even know if you can do anymore with Haiku Prime. I should probably test that. And it, you know, there was a good flow to maintain the buffs, but overall, having just one button you can press and then it gives you 200% increased damage, which is a 3 times multiplier, is really, really great. So, because this is 100% cold damage and I've buffed it's affected by your ability strength, so I've stacked all into strength while keeping, because the efficiency really can't go below 100%. The range kind of is weird having a globe that's only 100% size, but you don't really necessarily need it. And actually, Chilling Globe can probably be slotted out for something else. I liked it just because it was one little extra layer of CC. Not entirely necessary, but, you know, doesn't hurt. You'll find that this setup, really it's in the weapon and how you're gearing the elements. This is just icing on the cake, the fact that I can buff my damage a little bit even further. You can essentially have any frame and have a condition overload spec for melee. It's really on preference, because my criteria in Warframe is very simple. It's a 2-part thing. Number 1, the frame has to look cool. It has to be really badass looking, in my opinion. They're all badass looking, I'm sure, but everybody's kind of got their particular way they like to build things. And then number 2, it has to have a decent kit where I'm not having to think too hard about things. you know, the fact that I can run these defense missions, the 4-point ones, and just in general, you can slam guys into the wall, regardless of their health, and they'll die. You know, Frost is really fun to play, versatile. Once you realize how that globe can be used in small corridors or whatever. So, you know, and farming cryo, like, you know, I always found a benefit for using Frost, and I can take Frost way up into the high level enemies. So that's the, you know, one of the other things I like to have in a Warframe is that I can go out and solo and just go real high if I wanted to. I used to run Chroma. Chroma was actually who I used to get the John Prodman poster back in the day. So yeah, they got to look cool, which Frost definitely looks cool. And then they have to have a decent kit. Frost actually has good baseline armor, 630. Got to juice that up with steel fiber. I found that when you're in the deep end of the index or in different places, armor doesn't matter at all. It can be a lot. It can be 3,000, or at least this is back in the day. It's 3,000 or 1,000. It doesn't matter. They're going to be hitting like a truck and almost one-shotting you. So you have to be utilizing your operator moves. You know, not necessarily the operator damage, but just kind of cycling in and out of the frame. Anyways, so this is just a setup. You know, Prime Flow, Vitality, Steel Fiber, I would say are kind of the pinnacle points, and then Handspring, Constitution. The rest you can slot whatever. Freeze Force was to buff the damage. I slotted more Strength to buff the damage even further. Chilling Globe, potential flex spot, but I like having it in there for the extra CC. Arcane Avenger, Arcane Guardian, these can be whatever. I just slotted Armor, Crit. Because it's Condition Overload, you know, we like to make up for some of the fact that we're not speccing into crit really as much, but our weapon has a pretty high base crit. So having Arcane Avenger kind of covers that gap that you have. And then for the melee weapon, which I was already showing, Crushing Ruin has a slam down. It kind of interrupts you when you're moving. It's kind of annoying sometimes, but it's not too bad. Condition Overload is the must. You have to have Condition Overload. You're going to want to have Primed Reach and Prime Pressure Point always. Next, this is really slow, so you got to have some way to get attack speed, whether that's Berserker or Prime Fury or both. Drifting Contact is a must because it adds 10 seconds to your combo duration. And you'll notice when you're just rolling around, 5 seconds is way too low, so you need 15 seconds total or more. It also gives 40% status chance, which is nice. You'll see I'm at 70%. Usually you can get these to 100%. I was rolling around with some that were doing 100%, but 70% is pretty close. It's going to be, you're going to be proccing statuses all the time. And then this is to get Corrosive. Because I was Frost with the Lich thing, it gave it cold by default. You might be able to optimize that even further to have another frame be the one that sort of labels the outside element. And I can just show the this is what I have slotted into this. It really was just to differentiate the elements right here from my melee weapon. So I got gas, magnetic, and corrosive. On this, I've got viral radiation. And you can see that they hit decently hard, but nowhere near what the melee weapons are doing. Well, that's weird. Oh, it's because I have a bubble here? What was that? They I just sent them into another dimension. How does that even work? I wonder if I can replicate that. I'll put a bubble there. I'll come back after I spawn, but anyways. That was a big clip. 90? Wow. It's actually doing work. Alright. Now, let's see this. Yeah, that definitely feels... They nerfed the radial damage. So, like, it's not hitting... But I don't remember how big the radius is. Is my... So this sear barely does anything with these elements. I guess it's because it's magnetic. This would probably do better versus the... Look at all those stacks, though. I've got 16... 25 stacks of toxin. Whoa, did I run out of ammo? I ran out of ammo for that. He's gone. So the status effects are stacking up really high. But condition overload is only looking for separate instances. I don't think it's looking at stacks. Alright, I want to go see what happens to these guys over here. Wait, should I clear it out? I should. Maybe I'll do 2 tests. Because that's what I did last time. Okay. Did they just disappear? These guys didn't disappear? Wait, was I out of line? Was I just like a too far of a distance away or something? So like this? Yeah, it was! Look, that guy disappeared! What the hell? Okay, we gotta do that again. Alright. Wait, there's only one guy over there now? What the hell was that? Okay. Wait, oh no. Wait, I didn't summon anybody. Come back, I gotta go back further. Holy shit! What the hell was that? Oh my god. Wait, first I'll get rid of him and then I'll come back. That is funny. I don't remember it. Oh man. I don't remember it doing that. Dude, I'm going way too far with that teleport. Wait, did it get rid of my... Because I died? Get out of here, bro. We're running some tests. Very important tests here. Not doing anything, God. Clear. No. There we go. Okay. This time... How did that miss? Dude, is it like the farther away you are, the more they launch? The farther... Because look, okay, so let's see if I go up real close. I take that back. I don't know if that's a bug or is that may have been there before. I don't know. Alright, well... Anyways, verdict looks like corrosive. Can use corrosive, just like just like before, I think there might be situations where you can push viral to combine with potentially radiation to go beyond what corrosive can offer, especially versus enemies that don't really have armor, too much armor to be stripped anyways. This is kind of showcasing it on the Grenier enemies. So I don't think I'm going to change much. I might just have one extra loadout ready. That's a viral loadout on one of the 2 tabs that I can put on them. But anyways, this is actually the first video I made for Warframe. I just think that Warframe's always kind of been there in the background. It's a free-to-play game. It's a lot of fun. And it has a lot of great systems that they've added. A lot of complexity to the damage numbers. You know, the deeper you look, the more you want to plan how you're going to take advantage of these systems, the better it gets. And I always like playing games like that. So I'm not sure how many... I might make a couple, maybe 1 or 2 documentations of some of my builds and then go from there for Warframe. All right, well, thanks for joining me.